Deborah to you. Yay.
Okay, I will. Just let me start by saying we do have a handout. It has a price, your email address. If you want to follow with this, you're welcome to, and Kevin, my business partner in the back, can just grab your email address and give you one of these books, or you can get it later. I'm pretty clear even without the book, and you can get it later. Thanks. Okay, so I'm a business coach. Actually, Wendy Barlin gave me a perfect setup. You know the lady who started selling cheese? If she'd called me first, I would have talked her out of it. I really work with early stage entrepreneurs to take a business idea and make it viable, look at the competition, the pricing, the packaging, and then I give them to Wendy to help them run the business afterwards. So I work a lot with the early people. The combination of doing that business coaching and having started in the internet business meant I needed a good website for my business when I became a coach. And I did not like what I saw. You probably have all done some research, right? There's that GoDaddy or register.com templated website. It's about 4 pages. You can make it purple. And then there's the $5,000, $10,000 custom website. And you go, how much money do I need to make to justify spending that much to start the website? That's not even to support it and keep it going. And there was a spot in the middle. So I met Kevin McGillivray, my business partner. He's a technology guy, and instead of solving Deborah's website problem, we thought bigger. We said, if Deborah's having this problem, other people are too. And the system that we built is called Coach Power Tools, because coaches are our first market, although it works for any service business. Basically, database driven, you fill in the blanks on of the information you want on your website. The website builds itself with dynamic content. Been very successful. We're really happy with how it's going, but we found this major education gap. And I created this presentation, and I'm delighted Audrey asked me to present it here, because there's so much misinformation or people who have very vested interest in having you buy their blog software, their email newsletter software, their domain service, we wanted to just cover the gamut of what a small business needs to know about marketing on the internet. Now, this is not that email that you get every day, I make a 5-figure income on the internet, right? Maybe some people do. I don't think I ever will. However, I do make money coaching, and people need to be able to find me and see that I'm real on the internet. So most of my talk is general and specific to service businesses. I have a small part about e-commerce for people who are selling stuff. You can answer more of those questions in the Q&A, but I don't want to get carried away with the introduction. Let's get to it. This is actually a 45-minute presentation, and I'm going to go flying through it because Monique is going to make really mean faces at me at 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So here we go, boys and girls. An AOL email address is not an internet strategy. Is there anyone here still has one? Oh, you'll hear about that from me. It's not a hula hoop thing. It's not going away. You got to get out of denial. The internet is happening. It's only getting more widespread. 69% of Americans, that's 210 million Americans, are on the internet. And I don't know what it is you're selling, but my guess is the trend of the high household income people who can afford what you have to sell are also more and more on the internet. That TV usage is going down and the internet usage is going up. And it makes perfect sense. Here's my husband. He wants to buy a flat screen TV. Now he's gonna buy it at Circuit City or Best Buy or someplace like that. But where does he go to research that? Online, of course he does. This is especially true if you're in a service business. This really resonates with coaches and people who are in helping professions. If I have a pain in my hip, it's at midnight that I get up out of bed and go on the internet and I look for chiropractor Westlake, because that's when it matters to me. Maybe 3 people come up, I'm going to look at their website, and the one that snaps for me is the one I'm going to call the next morning. It's not an online purchase. It's an offline purchase where I'm doing online research. And if any of you are selling something that's a little hard to describe or is very much about your way of positioning and practicing something special, whether it's a helping thing, whatever it is, this is chance to make a wonderful impression with people everywhere, 210 million of them. And that's not even counting the people in China. Could you sell it to them? Could you sell it to the people in Europe? This is just Americans. And you have competitors. Here's my beauty queen. If you're going to pick a coach, if you're going to pick a healer, if you're going to pick a chiropractor, how many of them are you going to pick? Usually it's just one. And the other thing about all of those professions is there's a huge switching cost, right? Once I've shown a chiropractor my hip and where it hurts and he's done a, am I going to change chiropractors? Oh no. So it's in your interest to make sure you're the one chosen, you buy that person's loyalty forever, right? Maybe they come to you every week for the rest of their life. That's a nice little income stream and certainly worth investing in. This is a business. I hear so many people go, I'm coaching or I'm healing or I'm selling crystals because it's my passion. Well, boys and girls, Wendy Barlin was the voice of reason here. This is a business. You have to invest. You can't sell stuff if you don't have the stuff. And if you're in a service business, what you have is yourself, and you need to sell it. And honestly, the website investment, despite what all of those millions of people will tell you, they want to sell you this and this and this, doesn't have to be overwhelming. If you can get out of overwhelm, turn it into actionable steps, this is doable for each and every one of you in the room. And here's the main thing, resolve to move forward. This is, coaches love this stuff. This set my intention. You're learning something. Set some goals on what you can do. Make them measurable. Set key performance indicators. I love KPI. And get going. And here's one of the fundamental things about the internet. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know when you're getting a brochure ready for the printer? It has to be perfect. If that typo is on the back cover, your name is spelled wrong, there's a smudge on your cheek, you have food in your teeth, whatever it is, you're stuck with 1,000 copies at 33 cents each. You know what happens if it's wrong on the internet? You take it down. If you've built your website in a way that you can control it. Now, if you've paid $25,000 to somebody else and you have to pay $100 an hour every time they change it, oh, well, maybe you're going to live with the food in your teeth. But I don't really think you have to, and I'm going to show you how you can do it in a much more affordable way. So let's get started. Here's my next slide. I love this one. I have an MBA from Columbia in marketing, and here's everything I learned. Okay? Marketing has two parts to it. The message and the medium, right? And here's my thing, is that so many people are investing in the medium. They're doing stuff without having a clear message. When I go to a coaching meeting and they all go, oh, I'm a life coach. I'm like, yeah? I don't know who they help. I don't know what they do. If you can have a clear message, then you bother figuring out how to put it out with the various media. So I think the more important part of the fortune cookie slide is the message. And I also happen to really love the message. If you never change your mind, why have one? So here's this. Everybody knows what this is, right? The elevator pitch. Key elements of an elevator pitch. 30 seconds, you can tell your story to that venture capitalist, so he'll give you $1 million check. That's the internet myth. I don't think it ever really happened. USP. Who's the marketing guru who knows what USP is? Audrey?
Unique selling proposition.
Unique selling proposition. I love her. She's a plant in the audience. Unique selling proposition. Do you know why somebody should buy whatever it is you're selling from you and not someone else? If you don't know why, they're not going to buy it. USP. Hugely critical. Audrey and I could both give a whole presentation, spend at USP. If you don't have this nailed, you should. Who can you help? Do you help them with a product? Do you help them with a service? Who is that person? This should be in your elevator pitch. What's your niche? And the main thing is short, sweet, and I should underline this part, no jargon. Don't use initials or abbreviations. Think about being seated at a Thanksgiving dinner next to somebody's, Romanian grandma. She has pretty good command of English. She's been here a while. You got to be able to tell her what you do. My husband, who works at Countrywide Securities, he's in the banking world. His parents still think he's a bank teller because he can't tell them what it is he does. It's fixed income research in asset-backed securities. They have no idea what that is. My son, he's a banker. Okay. You need to be able to say what it is that you do. Audrey's met my husband. He can't tell what he does. So here's, this little girl's in overwhelm. Feel like this sometimes too, right? Here's all the different ways you can have fortune cookies. And there's more. There's public relations, there's TV, there's radio shows, there's event marketing. This is just my how am I going to do it all? Is that how some of you feel about marketing your business? I know that you got into your business because you like doing what it is you did. It might not be because you had any particular inclination, expertise, or skill or desire to do marketing. But if you don't sell it, who's going to come? Are they going to buy it from you? No, you got to market. That's the whole point of having a business. You know what they call a business without customers? A hobby. Audrey's heard the speech before. I use that one a lot. Okay, here's some of the things you can do when you add internet to the mix. You can get recognition for your business. You can get found by prospects. This is one of my favorite ones, and I think people forget it. Build and cement relationships. There's one lady over here, and she doesn't have a name tag on, so I can't point her out. But she said that she sells stuff on the internet, but she doesn't save the email addresses of the people who bought from them. Oh, it's a lost opportunity, I tell you. The whole idea is those people have already self-identified as saying they like you, and the internet is such an easy way to stay in touch with them. And then, of course, the thing is you can sell stuff and make money, all really good things. And just do my aside now. We had our commercial before from Eli, so here's mine. We sell websites, but we also sell a book. The book is 15 baby steps. Each one is very achievable. Putting them all together, you can build your website whether or not you buy our system. It's $59.99 and we have them at the back. Wow. Done? Okay? All right. The internet is fundamentally different. If you're still driving horse and carriage and treating your website like it's a brochure, then you missed the boat. It's a very different medium. This is my favorite slide here. Here's some of the things that make it different. And think about the implication of each of them. First, it's a short attention span medium. My poor husband, he's going to get slaughtered today. He loves the New York Jets. We're transplants from New York. So he goes and has his 4 sites bookmarked that all have Jet sites, right? So he goes to Newsday, he goes to Newark Star Ledger, he goes to all these. He has an extremely short attention span. Who has the news about the Jets? What does that mean when you build a website? It means that a lot of the people who come to visit you are only there for what, 15 seconds? Those of you who have websites, can somebody figure out in 15 seconds what it is that your website's about and who you are? If it's a yes, I love you. That's great. That's exactly what you're supposed to be. Big fonts, strong message, great graphics. Make a great impression. It's a short attention span medium. Here's another thing it is. It's up to the minute. If the Jets just announced a trade and that Newsday site doesn't have it, they're out of luck. They look really dumb. Your site needs to be up to date. If you put it up 2 years ago and you haven't touched it yet, it's not up to date, because I can promise you your business is not the same as it was 2 years ago. And if it is, you really need Wendy, because you should be evolving. Everybody should be evolving. The next thing is it's deep. Goes to the Jets page, right? And he's like, oh, you know what? I need to see the statistics in the last game. He's in a roto league. He won it this year, $1,000. He needs to know each statistic of every single player, how many yards, The websites can do that. Now, it doesn't mean that every visitor to your website needs a huge amount of depth. But on my website, for instance, I talk about entrepreneurs. I have articles about entrepreneurship. I have a little quiz. Should I be an entrepreneur? Those are the kinds of things that establish you as an authority and get respect for you in your area. Pretty easy to add to your website and create depth for the people who want to know more about you. The next thing is it's interactive. It's not it can be brochureware, of course, but the whole point of it for my husband, he goes on those blogs and he tells them what he thinks of that trade, about what the coach decided, about how the last game was played. Do you use interactivity on your website? Should you? Here's another thing, it's visual. We all like words, right? We can all talk our way, just write it down. It's gotta look good. Don't skimp on what it looks like. Use pictures. You have to have a picture of yourself. Use colors. Use fonts. Make it look attractive. You have those 15 seconds. Got to grab them. And the last one is the no boundaries. I don't know if any of you do virtual work. You know, I know there's mediums who can do it over the phone. But now you can have business everywhere. The other thing about boundaries, and let me just out there because I think people forget this part of it. Before I had my website, if you did a Google search on my name, you got Deborah Gallant, you would find a woman in Maine who has my same name and runs a management consulting company. You would find a New York Times writer who has a different spelling of my name, but writes the New York Times. I don't mind being confused with her. You would find my wedding announcement from the New York Times. You would find my sprint triathlon race results. But there's no boundaries of what people are going to find out about you. And if you're in a service providing business and it matters to you what people think, don't sign political petitions that are going to get put up online, or blog or contribute to a blog about something that's controversial if you don't want the world to know about it. There are no boundaries in that anybody can see anything. It's all the more reason why you should control the image that's being presented by making sure the first Google result is your professional and nothing else. Because if they find that, they probably won't look at your petitions. Yeah? I know, I have to go faster. So I've broken it down. 5 elements of your internet marketing strategy. The first one, domain name. You have to have your own domain name. Even if you're sitting here going, but I didn't start the business yet, Deborah, I don't need a domain name. Well, it matters. And you should do it soon because the search engines actually have a delayed lag time for when they'll find you. So do it sooner even if you're not ready to build. And I always prefer a .com to a .net, a .org, a .biz, a .us, a .tv. If you can get the .com, think of a new name so you can get one. You need permanent branded email. Besides the 1 or 2 people who confess to having AOL email, I know that there are people in this room who are still using the email address from their website provider. They have an Earthlink account, a Juno account. You gotta have the same email address as your domain name, even if the domain isn't built yet. That's the one you should use. That's the one you should respond to. And here's the thing we hear. Kevin, is this what we hear most? It's too many people have my email address. I can't switch it over. Use one for your old friends and your family and your Uncle Jack's joke list. You need a professional one. It needs to be the same as your URL, and you need to get everyone using it right now. And if you have an AOL email address that you're still using, hide it. Because there are people who will not do business with you if you're still using AOL because it makes you look like you just walked off the boat, like you're a real newbie. That's just the way some of us really nasty internet people are. Your website has to have all of these things. If it doesn't, go put them up. Logo. Most of you have a logo for your business? It can be your picture if you're a service person. Business name and tagline on every page. Tagline is Deborah Gallant, Life Work Catalyst, or Life Work Catalyst, Coaching and Direction for Entrepreneurs. It's the name and then the what you do, benefit statement. Contact information. I was helping to put together a site for some coaches, and one of the coaches didn't have her phone number on her website. Doesn't she want people to call? Easy to find, really out there. There's a whole controversy, which we can talk about later, about whether you should put your email address or just have a form. If you put the email address, you're going to get spammed. The spiders will come and find you and then automatically send you all kinds of crappy email. I want to make it easy for people who are not internet savvy to find me and to contact me, so I put it up and put up a pretty good spam filter on my email, and I'm willing to live with it. But I actually heard a really good suggestion in San Francisco, which was create a visual image, a JPEG, that includes your email address, so it's not clickable. They'd have to sit and retype it, but then it's there, which I thought was a... Yeah, there's all kinds of little tricks, and we could talk about that offline or at the end. But I happen to be in favor of leaving your email address up because I want to make it as easy as possible for people to find me. The editorial, the words that you use on your website have to tie in to your unique selling proposition. You need to have one image, and it needs to be everywhere. If you buy a Coca-Cola in Brazil, it looks red and white. It looks like the swirly thing. If you buy it in Israel, it looks the same. If you buy it upstairs at the Hilton, that's what you need to be, consistent across all your media. And your website is not separate. It's part and parcel of it. So if you have a logo, the logo should be on the website. If you have a picture, the same picture on your card and on your website. Make it consistent and easy for people to understand you. Pleasing graphics. We talked And here's one thing I bet a lot of you who have websites don't have. Legal terms of service, privacy policy, if you're selling things, warranty and refund. Kevin was actually that adamant about this. We will not post a website unless it has those things, so we actually offer sample language. If somebody follows advice that you have on your website and then they hurt themselves or they do something, you know who's liable? You could be. I mean, I think it'd still be hard to prove in a court, but just put a little legal disclaimer on the bottom of your website to make sure, you know, if you're selling a crystal, do not use this to slit your wrist. I don't know what it should say. Really, protect yourself. Okay, whatever you want to do with it. Service businesses, here's some of the nicer things you could add on past those basics. Your biography, services, frequently asked questions, downloads. I love testimonials and case studies. Tell the story of somebody you've helped or worked with and how it changed them. That's very compelling content for a website. Articles, and if you want to be that authority in your space, offer links to other sites. So is there an association or federation or somebody who offers more information about your area of expertise? Make it friendly and accessible for people. And here's the better yet. This is actually a sample, well, my website, LifeWork Catalyst, built with our Coach Power Tools. And some of the things it has dynamic content. If you go to visit it today and just hit the refresh button, it will be different the second time you look at it because it has rotating quotes, has a scrolling marquee, and then there's two elements right here that you can see, the testimonial and the case study, that are built into the database and rotate randomly into the front page. So a visitor coming can read different case studies on different visits. This stuff is not technologically as hard as it was a couple of years ago, and it is built into our system and other systems as well. And here's the other thing I really love is a sign-up box on the front page so that people can sign up for your email newsletter or whatever subscription or ask for more information. There's a whole free offer that those huckster people love to tell about. Give me your email address and I'll send you the 5 magic ways to make money on the internet, whatever it is. If you have a thing, a product that you'll give away for an email address, collect the name right up front. And you can keep adding. There's no end to what you could add. You could have a video of yourself. You could have online payment for service businesses, creating products. This is like, if I stayed all the time on this slide, we'd be busy. Build an online store and online events. I want to get to the retail one, though. This is if you're a retail or a product business. These are the things you have to have. First, you need to have a merchant account to accept credit cards, or an online payment processor, or both together, which is called PayPal. Right, there's a couple of different ones. You need a secure shopping cart. You can buy a system online or basically lease a system that works that way. You need digital images of what you sell, and they have to look pretty. Would you buy one if it didn't look pretty? No, of course not. Customer service, fulfillment, a refund and warranty policy, and hey, plenty of product ready to ship. That's an investment. You're going to have it. You don't want to go sell it and then find out you don't have it. So how do you get there? This is my quickie grid. MBAs love grids. Of the ways that you could build a website. You can have it be expensive with lots of graphics and functionality, or simple, look and workings, static, doesn't change, or very easy to change. So here there are 4 options. I'm going to run through them fast. Simple template on register.com. Cheap, easy, but limited. Do it yourself. Who here learned Dreamweaver to do it? Yeah, there's always somebody in the crowd. It's cheaper. I mean, it's still cheap-ish. It's not as cheap as buying a template. It's not very easy learning a new language. And the question is that what you should be spending your time on? We also call this the brother-in-law solution. Sometimes you have your brother-in-law do it, but then you're afraid to ask him to change it. Earl builds our custom site. You can have the sky's the limit, but you pay him every single time. And then there's a content management system, which is what we've been talking about. Fill in the blanks, plain English, the website builds itself. It is an investment, but it's easy and you control it. And that's really the basic thing here is you're in control. You hire someone else. You wouldn't let, would you pick up those Mexicans at the corner, they have them in Thousand Oaks, and then tell them to come to your house and build a new playhouse for your kids without giving them instruction? Whatever this is, you got to give them instruction. You have to tell them what it is you want to do. So whoever builds your website, you're still in control. Okay, part 4, interactive communications. There's blogs and e-zines. Everyone knows what a blog is, short for weblog. My short version of a blog is don't do it unless you're really committed to it. If you don't update it every day or every 2 days, you will be considered passé, and it's worse than having no blog at all. Email newsletters I love. You usually publish them monthly. You stay in touch with people, and it's an opt-in list. They choose to be on it. So all of you, by signing up there, are saying, yes, Deborah, I will get your email newsletter. You can opt out anytime, but you've given me permission to communicate with you. Even e-commerce companies, maybe especially, should have this because it keeps you in touch. What goes in it? Well, you have to have something to say, right? This is me in my triathlon picture. Everyone knew I was doing it, so I put it in my newsletter. It was newsy. People felt like they knew me. But don't be too selly. Unless you have permission to sell them and say moccasins are on sale, don't send it to for just sale purposes. 2 critical issues for email newsletters. I know I'm running out of time. How it's delivered and managing the list. So the free kind, right? You can just open up your Outlook and email addresses. Where do the email addresses go if you're sending it out of Outlook? In the BCC box. All you have to do once is send it to the to or the CC box so everyone sees the list and you look like, I don't know, what's a nice way to say it? An amateur, I'll just say that. Have to be the BCC box. You're going to get labeled spam though, because you're sending out hundreds of newsletters from your email. Try not to do this, and you have to manage the list yourself. I love email newsletter systems. There's a couple of them. I recommend Constant Contact, no financial interest in it. There's also Topica, Vertical Response. There's a few other ones. Get Response, I don't know that one. The idea here is you have list management tools. People get to, you can actually choose who you're sending it to. You can separate your list. You can see who opened it. And you can make it look pretty, design and graphics, so it can look like your website. We have reverse engineered our system, so if people sign up on their sign up for my email newsletter, it actually populates their Constant Contact database, so you're never retyping an email address. But boy, that was a great thing. And it looks terrific. People really like getting them. Audrey, do you like getting it? Okay, I have 1 more minute. Last thing, if you build it, will they come? No. Your work is not done. First, you have to keep your site content up to date. You need to get it found by search engines, and you need to publicize the URL. I highly recommend checking out the statistics of your website. What are people doing here? This is a Google Analytics report. We can explain to you more about what that is. It's a wonderful overlay to your site to see what people are actually doing on it. Then you can adjust and adapt your content based on who's coming and what they're really doing. You can get found by the search engines 2 ways. Search engine optimization, which is organic search, the coding in your site so that it actually gets found when people look for Coach Thousand Oaks, and that's great, and that's how you really want to be found. And you can pay per click. Don't do pay-per-click advertising unless you have an extremely compelling front page that people know what to do and you can convert and count them, because otherwise you don't know if you actually accomplish anything. Do you really want just visitors? No, you want purchases, you want email letter signups. Be not afraid. Oh my God, if you think that little girl was in trouble, look at him. These are all the things that you hear people talk about. You have to have a podcast, you do have to streamcast, you have to have a MySpace. You don't have to do any of those. Remember the 5 things? You do those 5 things, do them well. You'll be very happy with the results. My 4 top tips: register it, even if you're not ready to use it. Have to have branded email address. Use your email newsletter strategically. Do not spam. And collect business cards. The person with the most names in their database wins. And I'll leave it up at that. And 5 minutes of Q&A? 12 minutes of Q&A, and I'm sure you're going to have really hard questions, so I'm going to make Kevin help me answer when I can't. Okay, Audrey.
What would you recommend is a good place to register your URL?
There's one registrar. It's a company called, oh, she wants to know where to register your URL. There's one registrar. It's called ICANN, I-C-A-N-N, and they have licensed companies that all have access to that big database and can all register it. There's GoDaddy.com. Is one of the cheaper ones. Register.com, Network Solutions, there's a bunch of them. And almost always when you register the domain name, they'll offer you a whole bunch of other products. You can buy them, you cannot buy them, look at what they have. The main thing is hold your URL so you make sure you own it. My Hanukkah present to all the members of my family this year was their own URL. So my daughter has, my 10-year-old has her own domain name, my mother has her own. They don't know what to do with it, but someday they will. And Okay. Other questions? And pay at least 2 years out in advance, maybe longer. And you can have more than one email address point to the same website. So I own DeborahGallant.com and LifeWorkCatalyst.com, but it's actually only one website. And that's great too, because it protects your name in case you ever want to use it again.
Okay, so we all know that .com would be the best. But do you think, especially if you have a name of your email, do you think that I usually register .com, I register.
She's talking about registering the .com, the .net, the .org, the .us. Kevin, what do you think?
What's the benefit of registering the
Well, when you go to register your .com, do you also pay the extra money they want to register all the other variations on it, the .net, .org, so no one else will come in and get you?
I think it depends on how competitive your industry is. Is there somebody coming in who's going to try to scoop a little bit of your brand, a little bit of your relationship with your clients? And if not, I mean, Coca-Cola definitely owns as many, I'm sure as many variations as they could possibly own. But I don't know that I need to. I don't know that.
No, I didn't buy, I just have LifeWorkCatalyst.com, DeborahGallant.com, but I can see why you would, and it's not a big investment. It's usually, what, $8 or $9 a year?
One thing you might want to think about doing is registering variations and misspellings. If you have a particularly complex domain, or if you have a plural domain, register the singular or vice versa. That way, if you run into clients or customers who are mistyping, you capture them.
I think we have Coach Power Tool and Coach Power Tools, so that if you forget it, we still get you. Anybody else? Yes.
On the service that you offer, where you give and fill in the blank stuff, do all your websites look the same, or how much control would I have?
We have a number of different templates, which we'll be happy to show you the variety. And you always have your own name, your own logo, and in this case, you get to pick colors and images that go on your website as well.
But beyond that, if you hire somebody else to come up with some flash on the front end or something like that, is that possible?
Honestly, I don't usually recommend Flash, and there is a certain amount of customizing you can do on the front end and use our database-driven system on the back end, and Kevin can describe more of that to you offline. I think Flash stands in the way for most information-based websites. Unless you're an ad agency or graphic designer trying to show off how cool you are, I think you need to get right to the facts, man. That's just my opinion. Back there? I don't like buying email lists because I think most people perceive they're getting spammed by you, and then you start off on the wrong foot with them. But there are people making money with them, so maybe I'm not right. Audrey?
I just wanted to make a suggestion along those lines. I think the most valuable way of expanding your email list is to form marketing alliances.
So Audrey asked me to sign up for this event to speak, and I emailed my list about the event. So she got the exposure for the event and for Audrey while using my list of 1,000 names. I think that's a much more intelligent use of it. And also there are things like, when I was at the San Francisco Coaches this week, they have a monthly newsletter, and for $25, you can have your little ad in it. It's like, for $25, I can reach 300 people on their list who are exactly the people I want to talk to. Gee, that's to do it, and if they want to click through, they do, and if they don't, I didn't spam them. San Francisco Coaches sent them a mail they wanted. Yes?
So these click ads, you mentioned that unless you have your product on the first page, you don't think it's
Here's the thing. There's a marketer named Seth Godin, and he is an internet guru, and his idea is don't make the user guess what they're supposed to do when they get there. That you want to have, he calls it the banana. It's like, where's the banana on your page? What are you supposed to do? And that has to be dead obvious. If you're going to pay for clicks on your specific words, you better make it darn obvious what it is you want from that person. Unless you're really just trying to get exposure and get your name out there, you want an email address, you want to tell them what products you have and drive them right into the products, you want to show them a sale or a special. You want to make sure that they know what to do. Otherwise, it's just traffic, and last time I looked, traffic didn't usually turn into money.
Could you to a specific link on your page where the item
Sure you can.
Or a specific page.
Or you can actually buy the click campaign to link to that specific page in your website that sells that thing.
Yeah, and then they can backtrack and
Absolutely.
what they're about.
Perfect. You can even create a special landing page if you want that just is for that. Oh, you found us through Google. Congratulations. Here's the special of the day, and then link them back to your regular website. There's lots of ways around it, but don't just send them to a boring front page that doesn't tell them what to do. Anybody else? Okay, Kevin and I will be in the back. The handouts are free. The book is $59. And one more? One more?
About getting on a Google search engine.
To get in Google, talk to Kevin at the back of the room. Thank you very much. Coach Power Tools will be back there at least till 5 or 5:30. Thank you.
Okay, you guys, so if you'd like